Hi, and welcome to Composting 101. Today, we're going to learn all about composting. Let's start with the who. Who can compost? You might think it's just something for avid gardeners, or maybe just for those crazy tree huggers out there, but it's not. Anyone and everyone can and should compost because it is so simple. So what exactly is compost? Compost is a fertilizer for plants made up of decayed organic matter. Compost contains microorganisms, enzymes, vitamins, and natural antibiotics that work together to provide a spectrum of nutrients that you can't find in any commercial fertilizer, even organic brands. You might be saying, okay, so if it's just a fertilizer, why is it so important that I compost? Well, when you put your food scraps into the compost bin, you are diverting waste from entering the landfill. Why might it be important to divert waste, you might ask? Let's talk trash. The average American produces 4 pounds of trash in a single day. According to the EPA, in 2017, 267.8 million tons of municipal solid waste was generated in the United States alone. That's a lot of trash. In fact, the US actually produces the most solid waste per capita than any other country. That's right, we are number one. So, what's the problem? Well, the majority of our waste is placed in landfills, and landfills produce harmful methane emissions, contaminate the surface and groundwater, and are not a long-term remedy. This should not be an out-of-sight, out-of-mind situation. So, instead of contributing to the growing waste problem, you can make efforts to cut back on waste production by composting. Now you might be wondering, when is a good time to begin composting? The answer is any time. Composting can be done in any season of the year, even winter. If you live in a building where you do not have a backyard, some cities offer a curbside compost service so that you can collect your compost in your home and set it out to be picked up weekly. If you live in a house with a yard, you can locate your compost in your own backyard in a compost bin or pile. Now let's learn how to actually compost. The perfect compost recipe contains a balance of nitrogen, carbon, oxygen, and water. Here are some tips. There are 2 types of organic matter that you will put in your compost: greens and browns. Greens include substances with high nitrogen, while browns include substances with high carbon. In order to keep the microorganisms in your compost alive, make sure to water and aerate your compost while also being careful to not add any material that could potentially contaminate the compost. Here's a quick tip. In order to create a good decomposition process for an active compost pile, it is best to have 3 parts brown to 1 part green. Although this 3-to-1 recipe is suggested, don't worry too much about meeting a precise ratio. However, it is usually best to always have a higher amount of carbon. Thank you so much for watching. Happy composting!